Hi, my name is Jason Crispell, and this is my showcase video for my final project, the mood calendar. So let me just give you a little bit of backstory about how I came up with this concept. I was a firefighter paramedic for 3 years. I was working on an ambulance in the ghetto, working 24 and 48-hour shifts, sometimes with literally no sleep, and it was, as you can imagine, pretty high stress. I remember literally one time driving the ambulance lights and sirens through a neighborhood, and my eyelids were involuntarily closing while I drove from sleep deprivation. So, as you can imagine, this came with a lot of stress, anxiety, and depression, and that was something that seemed to come with a lot of people that I worked with. One in particular, fire medic Tim Kaczynski, uh, had been talking about suicide for a while, and he had a specific plan. He told us about it, and he ended up actually just following through on the plan exactly like he said. He took his own life. This was back in 2012, and this really got to me a lot because we were trained medical professionals. It should have been pretty obvious. I mean, they were very obvious red flags, about as obvious as they can get. And somehow he didn't get the help he needed. I don't think we really did a whole lot to help him. And I realized it was getting harder and harder for me to make it out of bed on my days off. And so I really took a good look at how I wanted to spend my life, if this was the right career path for me, and I decided it wasn't. And so after I left the fire department, really not a whole lot changed. I was still pretty depressed, and it wasn't until I really took a look at my habits of how I was spending my time um, that things really became to improve. Specifically, it was a workbook, a cognitive behavioral therapy book, and one of the features in it was a mood calendar. Real simple. All you do is you keep track of how you spend your time each hour and how it affects your mood on a scale of 1 to 10. And not only does this let you know, like, if I do this, I end up feeling worse. If I do this, I feel better. But it's almost like a workout for your brain, for your prefrontal cortex, right here. That's the part that handles executive decision making. Things like planning and delay of gratification all come from your prefrontal cortex. So, anyway, not to get too much into the weeds about nerdy medical stuff, or I'll spare you guys my business pitch and everything. Let's go ahead and take a look at the app. So, let's bring this guy up right here. This is a mood calendar, real simple sign-in screen. Let's go ahead and we'll log into a new one I just made to kind of show you the first time user experience. So we'll log in. First thing it does is it prompts you to take a depression screen. This takes you to a third-party website to take the PHQ-9, which is like the standardized government depression screen where you just answer, I think, 20 questions on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 7, and it gives you a score. And the score can kind of indicate what your current risk level is. So anyway, we take that, we finish the score, it comes back, and the app asks, it actually keeps track of the scores with you. That way you can see if you end up getting better, if you're getting worse, and hopefully from there you can make a decision to get help if you need it. Yeah, the website also, if you have a low enough score, it prompts you to like call this number, ask for help, that sort of thing. So anyway, let's just put a score in there. As you can see, this main page, it's a lot like Google Calendar, where you have a set of times, and you just click wherever you want to add an activity. So for this particular app, one of the target demographics I was going for is hardcore gamers and like binge watchers, that type. And so as part of that, I incorporated a gamification system, which basically means just like a video game, you can gain experience points, EXP points, and gain levels and that sort of thing. And I actually tied that in with what's called onboarding, which is teaching people how to use the app. So you see, oh, click here to change a day. And so if I click there and I actually use this little date picker here, we gain some EXP points. We got 60 EXP points for using that feature for the first time. So that's just a way of kind of holding people's hand through learning all the different features of the app. So let's go ahead and make an activity. We'll go ahead and click there, and so we click there. It's between 7 and 8 by default. Of course, we can change that as we needed. We'll say we took a walk, and I felt 7 out of 10 after that. And you see we gained more experience points. Oh, we actually gained a level 2 already. We're doing great. And you can see right here we took a walk. And so basically the biggest design principle I have behind this app, it's really simple, but asking someone to record what they do every hour and how it affects their mood, it's a big commitment to ask of someone. So the whole idea behind the app is that it needs to be as quick and as unobtrusive as possible. So one of the features I added I call click drag resizing, where you do a long click on there and then you have little draggable handles, so you can quickly change the size of an activity without having to go into that other page and everything. Along those same lines, it sends you notifications. So every hour, if you haven't logged an activity for the previous hour, it sends you a notification asking what you did. And the cool thing is it actually includes like a little text field, and you can just type in the explanation and your mood score right into there, and you can log the activity without even having to open the app. So that way, if you're out doing whatever, you can do it just as quickly and then put the phone away as possible. So that's definitely like the biggest thing behind the app, is I wanted to keep people motivated, but I also didn't want to make it such a pain that they would stop using it. And then really the other thing I added is charts. So let's go ahead and sign out. We'll go into another user that already has a bunch of information filled out to show you guys the charts. And so charts, oh yeah, this little animation I made, I think it's really cool. Flips around. Anyway, so yeah, you can see the trends on different days, what your average mood score ends up being. You can see we're getting better here. It shows you each month that the depression screen is each month that it sends you, and you see that we're trending. We're slowly getting better. And then also just to kind of get an idea of trends, it's you can look at like this time of day at 5 a.m. I'm usually around here. At 5 p.m. My mood score on average is a little bit higher. So just a little bit of data visualization as well. I did an Android version of this also. So for final project for those last 2 months, it was making this app for both platforms. So anyway, that's pretty much the basics of the app. As far as for what difficulties I had, there were a lot for sure. So the database I use is called Firebase by Google. That's a cloud-based storage, and that actually works really well. And so actually your information is synced. So if you use Android and iPhone, you have the same information on both. I did have a couple problems when I was doing the Android version of that, just because it was structured differently than I thought, and differently than it was for iOS version. So it took a little creative problem solving to fix that. But also, just the last couple months of school, just tons of things went wrong. One of my best friends died in a car accident that first month, so that sucked. And then my car got totaled, so I didn't have a car for a little while. My computer started giving me problems, and I couldn't even open the program I used to work on my project. So that was stressful. And then, of course, my phone died also, so I went a week without having a phone, which makes it pretty hard to test the app when you don't even have a phone to test it on. So yeah, I mean, there are always obstacles, but that's life. That's part of the learning process. There are always going to be things going wrong when you get out there in the field as well. And so just learning to kind of roll with it and to communicate with your instructor and just find out a way to do what needs to be done. And that's what I did. I eventually made it through it. It was definitely stressful. It was definitely a roller coaster. There were highs and lows for sure. But that's it. So thank you for taking the time to look at my app. As you can probably tell, it was a passion project for me. It was something really important to me, and I would like to get this out on the App Store pretty quickly. But yeah, my name's Jason Crispell. Thanks for watching.